morning. This morning me and Joseph made our way down to Caister Castle, which you can see just over there. But that isn't the main reason we've come here today. So come with us and find out why. So we have made our way into Caister Castle. £15 person to get in. There's no concessions or anything like that. So £30 for the service to get in. And there's a little clue as to why we're here. Just there. The Caister Castle car collection. So we are going to have a look round. This is meant to be, they phrase it as probably the biggest private collection of cars in the UK. So let's go and have a look. So as you're walking through to the classic car collection, there is actually a woodland walk over here as well. But we are heading to that building over there, which again is meant to be, again they say probably, don't want to get sued, probably the biggest private car collection in the UK. So as you come in, as soon as you get in, you see one of the original bubble cars, a Heinkel bubble car from 1957. I think I'm right in saying these are ones that didn't have a reverse gear, they only had forward momentum, and you got in the car via the front. So if you pulled up too close to the garage wall, I don't know how you got out of that. And then Austin 7 just to its side, as you can see over here. So it's actually amazing to see a few of these all lined up. So for example here you've got the Ford Anglia from 1946, and as it goes through the years you can basically see that the style of the car changes from away from the boxy cars which were based on horse-drawn carriages to begin with, into more recognisable, obviously very antique to what we have now, but more recognisable. So you can literally see how the car has evolved in a period of 20 years, and then moving on to a classic Ford Fiesta. It's amazing to just come across. I used to have a Rover 75, it wasn't quite this old though. This is from 1949, and you can see before the introduction of things like indicators, you had these little things on the side of the car to indicate to people behind that you were turning right or left. It's amazing how much the car industry has developed and how much technology has become involved. I mean, our cars nowadays are like spaceships compared to what you're seeing here, and definitively different to what you see here. But you can see, really, you can see where the inspiration from cars came from, which was a horse-drawn carriage, and it kind of makes sense. The technology they were using was simply adapted to be self-propelling. It was only years later that the chassis dropped, and I believe it was Mercedes who actually had the first, in Europe definitely, and the lowest chassis for a car. This is definitely getting into my territory, the old MGs. I love a good old MG, and these are some very fine examples, like the MGTF, which was later brought back in the late 90s, early 2000s, as a little roadster version, and it was pretty, let's put it that way. And as you can see, like AC cars, a lot of these manufacturers are long since dead and buried. And even motorcycle manufacturers like Triumph used to build cars, but then you have something like this, the Rolls-Royce Phantom, the absolute pinnacle of wealth and exuberance. You simply do not get anything like that anymore. It's not only cars, there's also quite an extensive collection of motorbikes and motorcycles. See a big Harley Davidson over here, and then BSA Golden Flash over here, BSA Bantam, Scott Flying Squirrel, an Eagle, whatever that is, from 1902. Quite sensational. Now, obviously everyone at the moment is looking at hybrids and electric cars. Well, how about this? City and Suburban electric car, 1903, and that is British. powered by rear-mounted batteries in 1903. We all think we're being modern and trendy and saving the environment, saving the planet. Well, they're trying to do that 121 years ago. I was chatting to the man as we came in and basically said the father who originally started the collection, when he passed away, his son effectively took it over and has built additional buildings. So you've got the original building that you see over here, and I guess this is attached to it as the original. The son has built 2 more buildings because the collection was getting so big and so vast. And he is saying that they've actually got planning permission to add 2 more big building warehouses, probably similar to this, as the collection gets bigger and bigger and bigger. He was explaining that there is a car collection in the UK which is bigger than this one, but a lot of those vehicles are loaned, whereas everything you see here is owned by the original family. So it is the biggest private collection of auto memorabilia in the UK. And the Hillman Lynx right there. I know Karen would love to drive around saying that. That's Karen's cup of tea right there in the car. And more motorbikes over here as we move through. And when you look at these very early motorbikes, you can actually see they are simply almost heavy-duty bicycles with small engines attached. Like a 98cc model here, the new Hudson. That is effectively a bike with a little petrol tank and a tiny little motor to propel it. And again, you can see the evolution of where we are today and how we got here. Ah, no, this is a bit different. Buggies and prams and pushchairs. So you can see, obviously, very old-fashioned, classic pushchairs there. So a lady over there was just telling me that these cars here were actually specifically made for the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And at the very start of the film, there's a race going on. And they've got a picture there from the film, and these cars were in it. So now, as I said to her, we're going to have to watch it to look out for these cars over here. But they are beasts, they are absolute monsters. I don't think on camera it comes across how big they are, but they really are huge. Just look at that. That is just the ultimate gangster car, isn't it? Imagine seeing that rolling down the road back in the day. Something quite sensational. And then more of a racing Bugatti here. Bugatti Type 51 Grand Prix 2-seater 1930s French. And then back over to your American cars, the Cadillac 1951. The Americans were building this sort of thing in 1951. That is insane. I think it is fair to say the owners are fond of Bentleys and Rolls-Royce. I have never seen so many lined up side by side in my life. Oh, would you look at that Mercedes 300 SL. So bizarrely, my car, I drive a Mercedes 350. This is the great-grandfather of what I drive technically, from 1956. And slightly more modern, 1963. Old B&W 2-seater, 1938. And some classic German engineering. B&W 635, 1984, 3.5 litre. Now, Ford Scorpio Estate, this is the facelifted model. An old Vauxhall and a Triumph Vitesse. It's a very, very eclectic collection here. And an old Austin Allegro, look at that. Amazing. Austin 220, 1973. Austin Maxi, 1972. And look at these, they've got loads of badges. So the Riley Marina, the Hillman, Hunter, Mini 1000, Austin 1800, Triumph, Alpine, amazing. And as you can see, it's not just cars. Lots of antique things like an old ice cream bike, hip bath, late 19th century, Singer sewing machines, 2 Singer sewing machines, a little cannon. There really is so much here. A sedan chair for dignitaries and royalty to be carried around in. So I was just chatting to the lady that looks after this part of the exhibit, and this is what's called a hobby horse. And effectively it's a self-propelled, so you scoot along just with your feet down the side. Now, just saying, obviously, if you look closely, all those modern balance bikes things, they're basically exactly the same principle. But the beauty of this is it was made in 1820, and I don't know if you can see it down there, but these are considered to be a danger to pedestrians, and they're eventually banned from the streets of London. If only they'd do the same with the modern variety. Oh, and as you come around the corner, I guess that's a tram, London City Council. I think it is a tram. And you can see they've actually rescued this one. So in its heyday, and it was rescued. It's been effectively turned into a hen house. But here she is now, in all her glory. Oh, look, it's actually open top at the top. Wow, and back in the day, this would have been how the AA got to you, not the big yellow vans then. Bikes, BSA AA Patrol Road Service Outfit, 1960. Now, when you consider like modern transportation, modern buses and things like that, and trams, look at this. How wonderful is that? I know you get your bendy buses, your electric buses, but look at this. And again, open top. A feat of engineering. Speed. It's not very quick though, 12 miles per hour. The Riker London bus. Open top, double-decker bus, 1913. Only 30 horsepower for something the size, it won't even fit on the camera. The size of, there we go. Harrods, I assume delivery van. Electric van again, 1914. Harrods of Knightsbridge. Now something I feel quite passionate about, a nice old Ferrari 328, 1988. Stunning, absolutely stunning. That is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. 260 brake horsepower, 3.1 litre engine, V8. It's one of the last models produced by Enzo Ferrari before his death in 1988. So this is an Enzo Ferrari made during his lifetime. The last one, in fact. There is really such an eclectic collection here, like a Fiat 126, next door to a Renault 5 Campus Prima. My first car's a Renault Clio, so that's really the one after these you'll see in there. The Ford Escort Popular from 1988. Goodness me. Nissan Bluebird Turbo ZX. 1.8 litre, 1990. Nissan Laurel SGX. Getting nearly a 2.4 litre. Nissan Sunny. These are cars from my childhood, they really are. Well, this one isn't. The Rover V8 automatic. 147 brake horsepower. And I think he's got a bit of an oil leak under there, but still looking magnificent. And a Vauxhall Cresta. Stunningly beautiful. And you can really see here how times have changed. A Honda S600 800 from 1966. It's a more modern day counterpart. The Honda S2000 in 2006. This one can do 150 miles an hour and 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. I bet the old one couldn't do that. It's amazing when you see cars disassembled, as it were, to see the simplicity of how they actually operate. They're not difficult machines, and they haven't overly changed a huge amount over the years. You see a wooden chassis. I forget the name of this, but you see where the steering rod comes all the way through, straight down, almost controls the front wheels by itself. These were removed from cars for safety reasons. because any sort of head-on collision coming into the front over here, basically that pole of metal was directly linked to your face. So they were effectively eradicated for safety reasons, because people would die in head-on collisions because of that metal pole just there. What do we have over here? SS1 Saloon 1934 British. Singer Vogue. And then that's rather pretty, isn't it? 1921 Benz 2460 Tourer. Very, very luxurious. From 1921. It comes to something when you're walking around a museum where there are vehicles that your family owned and grew up with. So the Ford Cortina Estate, right beside a Ford Mondeo. There's a Ford Mondeo in a museum, and that is from 1996. And again, I think that is a facelifted model, not the original. The classic Rover Metro. This is a Tahiti special from 1994, 1.2 engine. Very reliable small car apparently, and right beside the Ford KA. 4-cylinder, 1.3 litre front wheel drive. I remember when these launched at the motor show in the UK, there's such a hype around them because they look so different to anything else available. And cars you had yourself, I had a Rover 75. I had a 2.5 litre V6 Connoisseur, and this is a 2.5 litre, it doesn't say V6, it doesn't say Connoisseur. So I think mine was the more powerful exclusive model. So I think we're that's coming towards the end of the exhibit buildings. So we're just going through the past the last few ones. So Kawasaki motorbike here, Suzuki, beautiful bikes. I'm sure there's a TV show called, was it Street Wolf? It was like a Knight Rider version, but on a motorbike. And I'm sure he had a bike like that, Suzuki. But it was very similar if it wasn't that, that's for sure. Another Honda, Trans Spitfire, beautiful vehicle, absolutely stunning. An Alfa Romeo from 1964. I bet they're more reliable than modern day equivalents. Citroen XM, the 1927 Voisin C12, whatever that is. There's also a collection of very vintage toys. It's like a Rocky Roll Monkey, a little wind-up mechanism like snails and clowns and things like that, and a mechanical bull, El Toro, a little train set, and a few car collections as well over here. As you can see, the chap was just saying that this is one of the first cars ever made, ever built. It's only had two owners. It was owned by an Italian family who brought it from new, and then it was purchased by the family that ran the museum here, who I believe he just said was called the Hills, Dr. Hill. Now, when the Italians picked up this car, apparently they weren't satisfied with it because it wasn't powerful enough to get up the hills. So Daimler actually sent over an engine. So the engine that's now in it is a Daimler engine, which was not the original factory fit, but it provided more power so the family could use it where they lived in Italy. And it is the Panhard et Levasseur dog cart, 1893, French, 4 horsepower. I don't know if that's the original engine or the Daimler, but it's not very much. Fascinating history. So more toy collections over here. We're kind of making our way through the exhibition now towards outside. Absolutely fascinating. There's so much history in here. As I said before, very eclectic. You don't quite know what you're going to come around the corner and see next. For example, the first ever convertible XJS. Now that is an absolute machine. That is huge for a start. It is beautiful. And it's a Jag. I like that. Tax from August 1997, and beside it you've got a Jag E-Type. Considered to be one of the most beautiful cars ever made. And you can see why, because it is absolutely stunning. Worth an absolute fortune, I'm sure. It's funny when you look at the original cars and how they worked, because people complain that as Americans that stick shift is hard to drive. Well, get your head around that. what do you do with any of that? It's obviously the gear systems and handbrake and accelerator pedal just down here as well. I'm sure there's a brake on this. It might even be the brake, that one just there. Oh no, brake is here. Get your head around driving something like that. Right, so that concludes our visit to Caister Castle. Obviously, we didn't go and see the castle. We'll save that for another day. The main reason for coming was obviously the car museum that you see behind us. Lots of very rare. There's the chap was saying that the one of the cars we were looking at was, if it came up for auction now, it'd be worth in excess of £3 million. So there's a hunk of cars in there, which must be worth absolutely millions and millions of pounds. But it's amazing to be able to walk around and see different things, things from 100 years ago and plus, and also things from more modern times. I think there's a car, an Audi in there from like 5 or 6 years ago, an ST. And seeing things like bikes and trams and trains and buses, and absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for coming with us. It was very enjoyable. We had a really good time, me and Joe. As I said, £15 to get in, just up the coast from Great Yarmouth, about 4.5 miles from Great Yarmouth. You find your way to Caister Castle. Lovely.